Jade egg that costs $75. A candle that smells like a vagina. A psychic vampire repellent mist. If you think I'm making this up, I'm not. These are all real products sold by Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's wellness empire that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And here's the thing that'll blow your mind, people are actually buying this stuff. Lots of people. So the question isn't whether Goop is weird. We all know it's weird. The real question is whether Gwyneth Paltrow is a delusional rich person selling snake oil to other delusional rich people, or whether she's actually onto something that the rest of us just don't understand yet. By the end of this video, you're going to have a very different perspective on what Goop really is. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about how Goop even started, because the origin story is actually pretty normal. Back in 2008, Gwyneth Paltrow was just another Hollywood actress. Sure, she had an Oscar. Sure, she was married to the Coldplay guy. But she wasn't running a business empire. She started Goop as a simple weekly newsletter from her kitchen. Just recipes, travel recommendations, and lifestyle tips. Stuff she was genuinely interested in. It was basically a blog before everyone had a blog. Nothing crazy. Nothing controversial. Just Gwyneth sharing what she liked. And people were into it because, let's be honest, celebrities recommending stuff has always been a thing. The difference is that Gwyneth actually seemed to care about what she was recommending. She wasn't just slapping her name on products for a paycheck. She was curating. And that curation is what made Goop different from every other celebrity lifestyle brand. But then something shifted. Somewhere between 2008 and now, Goop went from lifestyle tips to full-on alternative wellness headquarters. And this is where things get interesting. Because Gwyneth started partnering with alternative medicine practitioners, energy healers, and wellness gurus, who claimed they could fix everything from your gut health to your aura. And the products got weirder. Way weirder. We're talking about vitamin IVs, coffee enemas, and yes, that infamous jade egg that you're supposed to put inside your body to improve your pelvic floor. Doctors were horrified. The internet lost its mind. Late-night hosts made jokes for weeks. But here's what nobody expected, Goop's sales went up. Not down. Up. Way up. Today, Goop is valued at over $250 million. So clearly, someone is buying what Gwyneth is selling. The question is why. Let's start with the obvious criticism. Goop has been called pseudoscience, dangerous, and elitist. And honestly, some of that criticism is completely fair. When you're selling a jade egg and claiming it can balance hormones and increase feminine energy, you're going to get called out by actual medical professionals. And they did call her out. Loudly. In 2018, Goop had to pay a $145,000 settlement over those jade eggs because they made health claims that weren't backed by science. They also got sued for claiming that vaginal steaming could balance hormones and cleanse your uterus. Spoiler alert, it doesn't do that. Your uterus is self-cleaning, and sticking steam near it isn't going to do anything except maybe give you a burn. So yeah, when it comes to making medical claims without evidence, Goop has absolutely stepped over the line. Multiple times. There's no defending that. But here's where it gets complicated. Because while Goop has definitely sold some questionable stuff, they've also been ahead of the curve on certain trends that are now completely mainstream. Let's talk about a few examples. Back when Goop started promoting bone broth, people thought it was ridiculous. Rich people drinking expensive soup? Come on. But now, bone broth is everywhere. You can buy it at Whole Foods, Target, even your local grocery store. It's recommended by nutritionists for gut health and inflammation. Same thing with intermittent fasting. Goop was talking about it years before it became a mainstream diet trend. Now there are apps, books, and entire communities built around it. What about adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha and rhodiola? Goop was selling those when most people had never heard of them. Now they're in everything from protein powders to energy drinks. Functional mushrooms like reishi and lion's mane? Goop had those on their site years ago. Now you can find mushroom coffee at your corner cafe. Even CBD products. Goop was early to that game, and now CBD is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So while some of Goop's products are absolutely ridiculous, other things they promoted actually became legitimate wellness trends. Which makes you wonder, is Gwyneth just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, or does she actually have a sense for what's coming next? Here's my theory. Goop isn't really about the products. It's about the feeling. And that feeling is exclusivity. When you buy something from Goop, you're not just buying a candle or a supplement. You're buying into the idea that you're part of a select group of people who are informed, conscious, and willing to invest in themselves. It's the same reason people buy luxury brands. A Gucci bag doesn't function better than a Target bag. But it makes you feel different when you carry it. Goop products make people feel like they're taking their wellness seriously in a way that regular products don't. It's wellness as status symbol. And that's actually genius marketing, even if it makes the rest of us roll our eyes. But let's address the elephant in the room. The prices. A $75 jade egg. A $75 candle. A $100 vitamin supplement. These aren't prices for normal people. These are prices for people who have disposable income to burn. And that's what makes Goop feel so out of touch. When Gwyneth talks about doing a $40 a day cleanse or taking a $1,000 wellness retreat, it's tone deaf to the millions of people who are struggling to afford basic healthcare. There's something deeply frustrating about a wealthy actress telling regular people that they need to buy expensive supplements to be healthy when most of us are just trying to afford vegetables. And Gwyneth hasn't always helped herself in this department. She once said she'd rather smoke crack than eat cheese from a can. She's talked about doing juice cleanses that cost hundreds of dollars. She's been photographed at exclusive wellness retreats that cost more than most people's monthly rent. So yeah, the criticism that Goop is for rich people is completely valid. Because it is for rich people. That's literally the target market. But here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. The wellness industry as a whole is kind of a scam, not just Goop. Whether you're buying from Gwyneth Paltrow or from a health food store or from Instagram influencers, you're probably overpaying for stuff that has minimal scientific backing. The supplement industry is barely regulated. Companies can make all kinds of claims without having to prove them. And people spend billions of dollars every year on vitamins, detoxes, cleanses, and wellness products that often don't do much of anything. So yes, Goop is overpriced and sometimes makes questionable claims. But so does basically every other wellness brand. The difference is that Goop is more brazen about it, and Gwyneth is more famous, so she gets more criticism. If a random wellness influencer sold a jade egg on their website, nobody would care. But because it's Gwyneth Paltrow, it becomes national news. There's definitely a double standard there. Let's also talk about the fact that Goop has actually pivoted in recent years. They're not just selling weird products anymore. They've expanded into real content. They have a Netflix series. They host wellness summits. They publish articles on mental health, relationships, and career advice. Some of that content is actually pretty good. Their articles on therapy and trauma are written by licensed professionals. Their pieces on work-life balance and burnout resonate with a lot of people. So Goop has become more than just a store. It's become a media company. And as a media company, they're actually doing some interesting work. Sure, they'll still sell you a $1,000 sweater and a crystal for good vibes, but they're also publishing thoughtful essays about anxiety and grief. It's a weird mix, but it's also kind of working. Now let's get into the real question. Is Gwyneth Paltrow out of touch or ahead of her time? I think the answer is both. She's out of touch in the sense that she lives in a completely different reality than most people. She has personal chefs, trainers, and probably someone whose job is just to organize her crystals. She doesn't understand what it's like to be a regular person trying to stay healthy on a budget. But she's also ahead of her time in the sense that she recognized early on that people are hungry for wellness content. She saw that traditional medicine wasn't addressing everything people wanted. She understood that there's a huge market for alternative wellness, even if some of it is nonsense. And she built a brand around that. Love it or hate it, Goop is successful. It's successful because it tapped into something real. People want to feel like they're taking control of their health. They want to believe that there are solutions beyond just going to the doctor and taking prescription pills. They want to feel empowered. And Goop, despite all its flaws, makes people feel empowered. Even if that empowerment comes from a $75 candle. Here's what I think is actually happening with Goop. It's not really about wellness. It's about identity. When you buy Goop products, you're signaling something about yourself. You're saying that you care about wellness, that you're open-minded, that you're willing to try unconventional things. You're joining a tribe. And humans are tribal creatures. We want to belong. We want to be part of something. Goop gives people that sense of belonging, even if the price of admission is absurdly high. It's the same reason people join CrossFit or become vegans or get really into astrology. It's not just about the thing itself. It's about being part of a community that shares your values. Goop has created a community of people who believe in alternative wellness, conscious living, and self-optimization. And that community is willing to pay premium prices to stay in the club. So where does this leave us? Is Goop good or bad? Honestly, it's both. It's bad when it makes unsubstantiated medical claims. It's bad when it prices out regular people from wellness. It's bad when it promotes potentially dangerous practices. But it's good when it gets people thinking about their health. It's good when it introduces people to legitimate wellness practices that actually work. It's good when it creates content that helps people with their mental health and relationships. Goop is complicated because wellness itself is complicated. There's no simple answer to whether something works or doesn't work. Everybody's body is different. What helps one person might do nothing for someone else. And that's the space that Goop operates in. The gray area between science and belief, between medicine and alternative healing, between what's proven and what's possible. The real genius of Gwyneth Paltrow isn't that she knows more about wellness than everyone else. It's that she understood that people want to believe in something. They want to believe that there's a better way to live, a healthier way to exist, a more conscious way to move through the world. And she gave them that belief system, packaged in beautiful branding and sold at luxury prices. Is it exploitative? Maybe. Is it brilliant? Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, Goop isn't selling products. It's selling hope. It's selling the idea that you can be better, healthier, more balanced, more enlightened. And people will pay almost anything for that feeling. So is Gwyneth Paltrow out of touch or ahead of her time? She's both. She's out of touch with reality but ahead of the curve on understanding what people want. And in business, understanding what people want is all that really matters. Whether we like it or not, Goop is here to stay. And honestly, that says more about us than it does about Gwyneth.